All right, I think we'll get started. Thank you guys so much for being a little patient. I know we're getting started a little late, but hopefully everyone has a chance to get some food. So you guys are well fed for today's workshop. But yeah, welcome to Axel. We'll just introduce ourselves really quickly and then we'll get into the actual workshop. If you have any questions, there'll be a couple of us floating around. People in Hack Squad, you guys want to raise your hands? Just so you know, if you look in the back there, we have a few people raising their hands. If you have any questions at any point in the workshop, just feel free to get one, like type one of them down or just raise your hand and one of us will answer a question for you. With that being said, we'll introduce ourselves really quickly. My name is Nikhil. I'm the president of ACM Hack this year. Yeah, we'll go down the line.
I'm Angela. I'm a technical events director, and I'm a second year data science major.
Hello, I'm AC. I'm a third year computer science major, and I'm also a hack technical event director.
Hello, my name is Charlie. I'm also third year math CS, and same with them. I'm also a hack TED.
Hello everyone, I'm Kushi. I'm a third year CS major, also a hack TED. Right, this is our hack board, and then we have our hack squad as you've seen. So now we'll probably just get started. If you all could just start, yeah. Okay. Hey, cool. So I know I went around and kind of introduced myself and talked about some of you. So I know you'll get a lot of chance to talk to each other as well throughout the workshops and the series, basically. So today we'll be covering HTML CSS, and this is check-in code. I think everyone's probably checked in by now, so we'll just move on. So for our hack school logistics, this is our timeline. So we're here from 6 to 8 HTML CSS. And we're going to be going to JavaScript. That's our next workshop. So next Wednesday on the 18th, 6 to 8, also Honeycomber. Pretty much all of them are Honeycomber, like right here in this exact room. So that's 6 to 8 next Wednesday, JavaScript. Then Wednesday after that is a building plan with React and Next.js. So we're doing about that on the 25th. That time is 5 to 7. So that's about 6, but come an hour earlier. And then after that, the following Wednesday after that is November 1st from 6 to 8. We're going to be doing APIs with Express. And then after that, Wednesday after that, week 6, we're going to be covering databases with MongoDB. That one is from 5 to 7. So I don't think there's inconsistency, but just like flipping around is kind of hard. So it's just an hour difference for week 4 and 6, that's 5, the other is 2. And the last one will end up with deployment on the 15th of November. Any questions on the timeline? Nope. Okay. So for today, what we're going to be doing is basically introducing our project. What is Hack School about? Like, what are we going to be working on, right? Everyone wants to know what we're doing. So we'll cover that, and then come on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. And then we'll do a little introduction on web development, HTML, and then CSS.
Yeah.
So this is our project demo.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we're basically going to be building. So this is our homepage. We called it Hack Racer because it's like a type racer kind of game, but we're hack, so Hack Racer. And then there's the add sentence. So you'll be building this form where you can type a sentence and submit it. And then you can play a game. You have a list of sentences and you choose from and start playing the game. Over here, you'll actually be playing the game. Like it'll go to that page. And then for history, it should show all of your games. I think it's just like some deployment right now, but it should show up cards over here. Maybe we'll show it to you at the end as well, but let's move on for now. So for GitHub, this is going to be our GitHub link, acmurl.com/hackschool. All of you should just open it up for now, but this is where you'll be working for the project. I'll give everyone like 2 minutes to just open it up. And if you need help, then just raise your hand. Hack Squad or some of us will just come to you and help you out. And once you guys like see the GitHub page, just give me like a thumbs up or something, just like an idea. Okay, looks like majority of you got it, but if you don't, then just remember it's like acmurall.com/hackschool. And if you forget the link, just raise your hand. Hackschool will give you the link. So moving on to what is web development. Web development is basically combining designing and this programmers, right? So designing alone is creating designs, right? You just create another graphics and stuff. And then there's a programmer that does just a lot of coding, front end, back end, and all that, right? But what front end is like a mixture of both. You're combining design and the programming skills together. So whatever design projects you made, you can code that up. That's the front end part of it, of web development, basically. And then for backend is basically you have your browser, you have your web page, right? So next to these things called web servers, that's where and the database. The database basically stores a lot of the information. So in our case, for the games, right, like the stats that you'll be seeing, those will be stored in the database. Any questions on front end or back end? That was like very brief, but yeah, any questions? Nope. Okay, cool. So now moving on to the main thing for today, HTML. Who's excited? Yeah, let's go. Okay. So HTML, what stands for is hypertext text markup languages. That's HTML, basically. So now we'll get started to the actual thing. So HTML tags. What are HTML tags? HTML tags are basically all these tags, right? You see title, you see link, you see H1, H2, P. What is all of that? Right. So title, it's basically like the title, like what you see on the main home screen page, right? So welcome to Hack School. That's what you would have seen at the front, like if you see on our website, right? Over here, you see welcome to Hack School. This is like a different version of it, but you would have seen the title over there. Then we also have our link. That's like linking all the pages and icons. You can add images and stuff as well, but essentially link is just you have your link to this is an image, so you'd be linking an image in your code. So just show up that code. This is just like an ACM logo that we have. And then H1 is the biggest header. That one is gonna be like the largest text box you see, like in headers, right? It's like bold, it's huge. And then H2 is just slightly smaller, so it's like a subheader. And then P is just like a paragraph. So that's like all the text, like the main body of the text you see on web pages. And all of that goes inside a thing called div. Div kind of stores things in separate containers type of thing. So you can put things in divs to like sort things out separately. Any questions on the tags? And I know I'm kind of going a bit fast, but that's just because of the timing a little bit. But yeah, if you have any questions, just raise your hand and I'll answer them. Nope? Okay. Then we have our form. This is another tag. Form is basically, what do you think, right? A form, like, you know, how you have different fields. So in this case, in our code, what we have is this label for first name. So that is going to be a field for first name. There's another field, input type. This is type text. That means the box that you show, right? That's going to be taking text type of characters. It's not like just numbers or whatever. It's like takes characters and everything. So that's for the first name. So in this case, we're putting the value John in there. So that's just like what would be written over there in that box. Then we have our last name. That it's gonna say last name, and then just like it takes an input again. And then this is also input text. Sorry. So this takes the value Joe right now. So yeah. And you can always like take this code and then test it out, like run it. I'll show you later on, but I'm just kind of speed running because of the timing. But if you still have any questions, just ask. Yeah. And then lastly, we have our submit button. So for buttons, what we do is you specify the type button, and that basically lets you know that it's a button, like it's clickable, you know? So the type you have basically specifies what type of thing you're trying to code up. So for text, it's going to be like a text box where you can type, right? For the last one, for type button, it's going to be like a button, so it's going to be like clickable, you know? And the value submit, that's like just what shows up on the box of the button. So if you have a box, that box is clickable because it says type button, and then the value submit, so that submit is just like written on top of the box. So it's like a submit button. Any questions? No? Okay. Then we have our HTML tags. This is like a list that's unordered. So why is it unordered? Like the UL stands for unordered list. So if it was ordered list, it should just be like .l. But since it's unordered, we do UL, then we put the list inside. So the main outer body is UL to highlight unordered, and then inside you have your list. So this will have these two images as a list, basically. Just be like 1 and 2. Oh, well, it's not ordered, so it's just like bullet points, and then you have your images. So there's like an ACM logo, and then I think this is the Warren Bear. And then inside, after your image, you can specify the width and height of it. So it's not like gigantic, right? You can specify how wide and how tall you want the picture to be. So right now, just so it doesn't take up the whole page, I just specified it to 300 for width and height for both of them. Any questions on the list? Yes. Oh, the numbers? They resize it. Any questions? Other? Nope. Okay. And now we have ordered list. So OL for ordered list. So kind of similar. You have your ordered list tag, and then inside you just have your bunch of lists. So this time it's gonna, instead of bullet points, it's gonna be like 1, 2, 3, like numbers, and it's reordered. So like for this first image over here, the ACM UCSD, it's linked basically. So for the first, it's gonna be like 1, and then it's gonna say ACM at UCSD because that's what we put in between over here. So that's a text that shows up, and then that's the link it goes to. So you know how you link stuff in Google Docs, you just type in and you specify a link to it. So that the name is ACM at UCSD, and then if you click on it, it takes you to acmucsd.com. And href is basically just like linking stuff. It can be images, it can be like specific links to other sites. And then for number 2, so you have 1, ACM at UCSD linking to the ACM website. Then you have 2, and then you have our GitHub for Hackskull. Any questions on ordered lists? Yeah. Yeah, good question. So for unordered, it's basically like bullet points, right? You're not ordering them, you're not numbering them, you're not so like you're not doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, but it's just like bullet points type of thing. And ordered is like the one with the numbers. Any other questions? No. Okay. So now we get to the main portion. We have our first activity. So now, since y'all have opened up the GitHub, let's go ahead and fork it. I'll give everyone like half a minute just to get on the GitHub page. But what you're gonna do is make sure you're signed in, just so it's connected to your account. And you can also follow us along. Like if you get lost, then go on hack.acmucsd.com, and then there's a hack school page. You can just go on there, and then there's a git /GitHub page. You can follow along with over there as well. So what we're going to do is fork it. And then this is going to be the name of the repository. So this is the name that's going to be saved as in the folder. And then just a description. I'm not going to change it right now. It's fine for me. And then just create fork. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. We have our hack squad walking around. Okay, so now that you see, this is what shows up, right? I've forked it. I already see 42 of you have like already forked it. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, so you see this now. This is your main, and this is like your own local repository now. You're not gonna be making changes to our main thing anymore. So now you can just clone this fork that you just made. And I am just gonna do it GitHub desktop. If you don't have GitHub desktop, you can also just like copy the link that's there, just do git clone and just copy that link and then enter it in your terminal. So you can just do like CMD and just navigate to your directory. Yeah.
Need more time. Okay, without having, so I guess Aqua can just go to these people and then can help them out, help them patch up.
Okay, so now you've worked it and you've cloned it. Let me also clone it real quick. Okay, so what you should be seeing is this. How many of you see this? Like you have it open in VS Code. You just have the README file. That's it, pretty much. Okay. Can you raise your hand if you are like kind of here? You have VS Code open? Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is work on an activity, which is basically gonna be creating our pages. So what we're gonna be working on is basically creating this home page first. So that's what we're creating, right? So if we go into our VS Code, what we're gonna do is go over here. Hold on, let me see. Can everyone see this icon? I don't know if I can zoom in more. Okay, yeah. Oh, well, okay. So this icon that if you hover over it says new file. So what we're doing is creating a new file. So create new file, and then what we're going to call it is index.html. So when you do .html, this like little HTML logo should pop up on the side as well. So just go ahead and create that. Just put enter, and then it should create this file called index.html.
Let's give a minute.
Okay. So now what we're gonna do is just do exclamation and then enter. That basically gives you this entire HTML setup. So let me redo that. Okay. Okay. Can you just if you created that file, by the way? Okay, so all of you have created the file. What you're gonna do is go in your file and just type in exclamation, and then you should see like this kind of pop up, and just to enter. That should basically set up the document for you. This is like the setup for HTML. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Can everyone still see? Okay. Once you have this, maybe like thumbs up or something. I'll give it like a minute more. I hate typing like one-handed. That's not gonna spread. It's not gonna spread, but I think this should be fine. I know. Because no one had to download it. That's why I wanna like, but no one like look at it. Okay. How many of you are at this step, by the way? Okay, handful of you. So what we're gonna do now is for this title tag. So remember how we covered the title tag in the slides? This is just me what comes up, right? So over here, let's just rename it to half eraser. Okay, yeah. And then now what we're gonna do in our head tag, we're just gonna do some styling. This is gonna be like inline CSS styling, which will be covered a bit more into like the CSS slides. But right now we can just put this in here just so it doesn't look very ugly when you actually run it. So what we're gonna do is just do the style, and then this should automatically, the second part of it, the closing should come up immediately as you. Okay, so now in style, what we're gonna do is have our header 2, and then just text, align. We'll cover these a bit more. Angela will cover them in the second half, but right now let's just do this. Text align again, and then center everything basically. This is just like the main styling kind there's more styling we'll do, but it's gonna be at the end. Just center align everything. Okay. So once you have this, give me like a thumbs up. Okay, let's just wait 1 more minute. By the way, if anyone on Zoom has a question, just type in chat. We have people monitoring the Zoom chat as well. Oh. It's kind of far, that's why. Can everyone in the back like still hear me well enough? Okay, cool. Okay, so after this, what we're gonna do is kind of start our main body. So in if you see over here, there's these body tags, but it's all empty, right? So let's put some stuff on our site. So let's put a nav bar, first of all. So this is just an ID. What this does is basically putting the div class I kind of talked, yes. Louder? Okay, yeah. So inside our body, since it's all empty, what we're gonna do is have our nav bar in here first. So just do this for now. Just do div and then ID equals nav bar. This is classifying this whole section as nav bar. So whatever we put inside this div, it's all gonna be put up this ID called nav bar, and ID will be used to style our nav bar afterwards. Okay, so now we have our div. Inside our div, what so over here, we have another div. This time we're doing a class. Call it title. And this is where we're going to have our main homepage link. So as you saw over here, the hack racer, we're going to be linking that in our nav bar. Any questions?
Be a little closer to the mic. It's a little hard in the background.
It's because I want to type.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just like
switch, please.
Yeah, switch it if you can.
And see that cord. Okay. Is it clear in the back? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me well. Okay, cool. So now we have created our class called title. And inside what we're going to be doing is using the href thing that we talked about earlier in the slides. So A and then ref, that's just going to be linking our hackers, like the main thing. This is our index page. So what we're going to be linking is basically linking it back to our index page. And then call it a hack racer. So now if you like right click, you can do open with live server. And if you don't see that option, just go in VS Code extensions. And then I think just type in live server and just install it. It should be really quick. Yeah. This just like runs your code live basically. So we see over here, it's Hack Racer. It's kind of small because we haven't installed anything yet. But you see Hack Racer, it has a link. It's just linking back to the index.html page. I will give everyone like 2 minutes just in case you don't have the extension. And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll come around.
It's just this first option. This should say install. Just click that install button over there. Okay, I think a lot of you are already here, so let's do the next thing. We're gonna create another div. This is gonna be for the nav buttons. So these are, we're gonna be doing these nav buttons over here now. So we already did this hack racer. We haven't styled it, so that's why like when you see over here, it's like kind of like all centered and looks pretty bad. But once we get to the CSS, it'll look pretty. Yeah. So now over here, let's do another div. And then this one's also gonna be class. And then this one, let's call it nav buttons, nav dash buttons. And then we're also gonna have another links, basically. These are just gonna be linking to other files that we'll create just about now. Well, let's just have this out and then we'll create these files. So what I've done is I'm going to be linking a create sentence.html file, which is going to be called add sentence. So this add sentence, that's going to come up and it's going to link to our file that we're going to create right now. So open the create new file and then type in create sentence.html. So what this does is over here, add sentence, whenever you click on that on the browser over here, when it comes up over here, right? You're just gonna link to the create sentence and whatever you have in the create sentence.html, that's what's gonna be shown afterwards. Like right now we have nothing, so it's all blank. And once you're done with that, go ahead and create a file for game, call it game.html, and link that to the play game. So instead of add sentence, it's gonna be like a play game. So let's just have our third one, play game. Yes. Yeah, for create sentence.html, you're creating a new file. So like you're going on that icon, new file, click it, and then type in create sentence.html. You can just leave it blank for now, but just like create that file and then you're just linking it. After you're done with this, what you can do is create another file, call it game.html, and then link that. Similarly, it's pretty similar. Just link it in this now buttons div. Yeah. Can I get like a raise of hands or thumbs up if you already created the game.html and linked it? Okay, let's just wait one more minute. But great sentence, maybe. Okay, so I know a decent amount of you have done it, and just because of timing, we'll keep moving forward. But if you have any questions, just raise your hand. We have HackSquad to help you out. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is also create another div, but now this is gonna be outside of the nav bar. So all of this is part of the nav bar, but now we want stuff that's just gonna be in our page over here. That's not part of our nav bar. So to do that, let's create another div over here. And then we're just gonna call it welcome because it's our welcome page. So in here, you can write whatever you want. I'm just gonna move on to our next page, but you can just have a header tag just welcoming. And then after that, you can just have a quick paragraph or just whatever you want, like hack school, list, fine, whatever you want to type in there. That's your welcome page. So all of this is what we have. This is gonna be part of like our paragraph. That's our paragraph, but you can write whatever you want for now. So I'm just gonna move on to create sentence just because we're short on time and we want to get to our CSS portion of our workshop as well. And one more thing is in order to do images, you just do image source and just like link it. You can check the slides as well, but we'll also release the code at the end of our workshops as well. But as you saw in the slide, you can have an image link. So over here, you saw image source, you have the link to an image. You can just Google it and copy the link and then paste that link there. And then you can do width, set the width and set the height over there. So that was just our ACM logo right there. That's what we had in our code for index, but I'm just gonna skip that for now. So now we'll go on to our create sentence page. So again, exclamation, enter. Give me a thumbs up if you're here. Okay, half a minute more. But basically, let's just copy this all and just replace the HUD. And also let's copy our nav bar just so we don't have to rewrite it. I'll give everyone a minute to catch up on this. But we're basically just copying everything from our index.html, the nav bar and the styling that we did in HUD. And by the way, over here, you should still keep your game.html linked over here. I just didn't run it yet because some people are just not caught up with it. like I want to give what? I'm gonna get to the game.html mainly because I want to get out of time for CSS. Like already at 7:19.
Yeah, I think we could get set up.
Yeah, but I think I feel like they should be able to do this. Well, look at the phone anyways. I can just control the yourself.
Yeah. I have this tomorrow.
Maybe. Yeah. Good luck. You got this. Okay, so once you're here, can everyone give me a thumbs up or like a raise of hands if you copied everything over? Oh, that's not okay. I'll give one more minute.
The same file.
Yeah, just copy. Yeah. Okay, just because of timing, let's move forward. So in our create sentence, we copied our navbar, right? So what we're gonna do now is create our actual create sentence form. So that's gonna be what you saw over here, like this. It's not gonna look as pretty right now because we haven't styled it, but this is like the idea we're gonna get at right now. So let's create a div. And then call it create sentence. And now we're gonna have another div just for the form itself. I know, that's not question. I'm not gonna do the game. I'm not doing the game because it's too much.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just give.
Yeah, office hours.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're creating a div for a sentence form. That's the form is gonna have all these contents, like just inputting the sentence, right? The text box. So over here, let's have a heading for it. So header 1, this is gonna be like the big heading, right? And just call it create a sentence. And now we have our actual form. We'll just call it form row. Now this is where we're going to be labeling it. So now we're going to have the label for sentence like this. So far what we have is this header, create a sentence, but now we're going to do this sentence over here and this text box. So in our form row, let's have a paragraph just so it's smaller and it's not as big as like the header. And then let's do label and do it for text, to type text. And let's just call it sentence. So that creates our sentence. If we go to add sentence, you have our create sentence and you have the sentence. This is what you're seeing. So with the live server, what happens is as you're typing your code, it automatically updates. Sometimes it bugs out, so just refresh if it does. So now let's do the text box. So we have this thing tag called text area that basically like creates a text box for you to input text into. And let's give this the ID sentence just so you can style it later on. Sentence area. And let's give a name sentence. Rows. let's just have 4 rows, just so it's like big enough. Like it's not a tiny box, it's like kind of wide enough for that. So let's do 4 rows. And columns, let's do 50. And later on, you can play around with these numbers and see how it changes it, just so you can like actually experience and understand it better. But just because of timing, let's just kind of go with this right now. And then inside, let's just do enter sentence. And then close that. Right. Is it okay if I zoom out a little bit just so you can see? Okay. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah. Okay, so now your form. So what you should see over here is kind of like this. Enter a sentence. So this text that you put over here, enter a sentence, you can change it if you want, but that's just what shows up in the text box for now. Just and then you can type in there whatever you want. And that's what the text area tag does. It makes that text box where you can type text in it. Any questions on any of this code so far? No questions? Okay, then let's just have our submit button then, our last submit button. So let's do another div. Actually, let's just do input because it's a button. So do the tag input and do sentence submission as ID. The type is a button, as we talked about in the slides before. Or if you don't want button, you can also do submit. Either one works. And then just close that out. Okay, any questions? Okay. Yes. Is that fine? Or more? Okay, cool. All right, then let's actually, since it's a form, let's use the form tag over here actually. Sorry about that. Okay, and then you should basically have your submit button as well over here. And now, I know this is kind of speed running, but we will also have office hours. We'll talk about that at the end, but I'll just give everyone 2 more minutes and then we'll move on into our CSS. Sorry. Yeah. 1 second, 1 second. Sorry. Yeah.
So, has everyone finished up the code for the create sentence? So just give me a thumbs up if you're done with all of this. Okay, so if you still need to work on it, you can also ask the other Hack Squad members and then they can help you out. But we're gonna move on to the CSS portion now. Yeah. Okay, so so everyone listen up. So we're just gonna cover CSS pretty quickly. We only have like around 30 minutes. So I'll try to speed through it a little bit. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So this is how you would style your web page for your HTML files. Okay, so these are just some memes to like describe CSS, but I think it's your website probably looks like HTML. It's very like bland. But once you have CSS, you have like color, like background color, like font size, things like that. And then you'll learn like soon, but like when you make small changes in CSS, it can have big effects. So that's what the right side images are. Okay, so we're just gonna cover first inline styling for CSS. So inline is when you style directly inside the tag for your HTML tag. So for example, for this H2 header, I styled it red, so the text color will be red, and then you would have the text on. So the downside of having inline styling is if you wanted to style like multiple headers of like clean styling, you have to like keep copying and pasting style equals, and then that's like a lot of work. So there's an alternative, which is internal CSS, which is what Yuki showed a little bit of, where you have these style tags inside the head tag, and then you can add all your styling in there for your tags. Like for this example, I just moved like the H2 styling inside the style tag. But like one downside of internal CSS though is just that, again, if you had multiple HTML files, you would just have to keep copying and pasting like style. Like that's like a little like time consuming, especially if you had a lot of HTML files. So industry standard is you have external CSS where you would have a separate CSS file, and usually you name it like style CSS, but you can name it whatever you want. So essentially, you'll make a style CSS file, and then you will add all your styling in there. And then in your HTML file, in your head tag, you would have a link. And then in your link, you would have an href equals, and then the file name for your CSS file. And then you can also have like null equals style sheet, and that just describes your relationship with the HTML file. So you just name a style sheet in case you have other like JavaScript files or anything like that in your head tag. And then I'm just gonna quickly cover selectors. So far you guys have just been using element selectors, which is when you select like the HTML element, like for example, in this example, we have your style images and adding padding. So padding essentially is putting spacing. We have like text inside a container. You have like 32 pixels like from like the top and the sides and the bottom. But one downside is if you had two divs then it would have the exact same styling. So for example, like here, we have two divs and then you have different class names like beginning and end. And for, if you wanted to make like one, for example, the beginning, 20 pixels, then you could style it with dot beginning. So that's how you would style classes in CSS. So you do like dot beginning and then do the brackets and then add your styling there. And then that would change the styling to be different on the end one. If you like if you or to do like dot beginning and then dot end, and then you can do different styling. And then for the difference between class and ID, as you saw when you were making your HTML file, you had one that was for your navbar ID. So IDs are for unique elements, as you can like, for example, like your student ID is unique to yourself. So that's how I would remember it. So you can only use it for one element in your HTML file. While class, you can apply that styling to multiple different elements. So in this example, for the nav bar, I just styled it like with a black background color and then a font size of 16 pixels. And then for IPs, as you can tell, the difference is you would use a hash flag when you're doing the CSS file. And then for the class, you use the dots. So for the class, I was finding the list for the navbar or all links. And then I would name the document and made all of the text blue. So are there any questions about the difference between like class versus ID? Okay, then we can just move on to our activity then. So you'll just be styling the welcome page that you made during your HTML activity. So let me just move to the code. Wait. Okay. So first thing you should do is just make your CSS file. So I'm just gonna name it main.css since this is our main repository, main CSS file. And then you just like add new file and then do like main.css. And then in your index.html file, in your link, you add like the link in your head. So you can just add it underneath the title and then do link. Shut up. And then equal style sheet, and then href, and then I would just name it main.css. Okay. And then once you have that, so we're just gonna do the styling for the nav bar first. So you see. So we want to make it so the background color is like orange and then everything's like much more spaced out. So let me just move back code and then okay, so to style the navbar, since it was an ID tag, you would use the hashtag. And then let's just first change the background color. So I'm just making it orange with the specific hack orange color. And that should make the navbar orange. And then for the layout, there's something that we're gonna cover more in depth if we had more time, which is Flexbox. But essentially Flexbox just allows you to like make like layouts of like rows and columns much easier in CSS. So first, justify, zoom in, okay. Okay, so just to cover like Flexbox a little bit, we're gonna be using space between to add space between the links in the navbar. So let me just quickly show you what this looks like in the live server. Okay, so now you can see that the background color is orange, and then there's space between the links, which is like hack racer and the add sentence right now. So does everyone have that? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. And then next, we'll just align items center. So justify content will work like to make the layout for the items like horizontally, while align items will be working with the vertical axes. So this just push the create sentence. Index. I'm just gonna continue, and then you can ask any of the hack squad if you still have any issues. But next, we'll just add some margin to the bottom. So you just would do margin bottom, and then just add like how much spacing you want below the nav bar. And then I'm just gonna do 35 pixels. And then after you're done adding like margin, you can also add some padding so that there's spacing inside the navbar container. So I'll just do 25 pixels for now. And then we can just see what it looks like. Okay, so as you can see, now there's like some padding. So there's like spacing like on the top and bottom, and then also like some margin below the nav bar. So it's like farther away from the welcome text. And you can also like just style it like differently while you're styling your nav bar. This is just like some examples of styling you can do for your nav bar. Okay, can everyone give me a thumbs up if they're done with the styling for the nav bar? Okay, I'm just gonna move on to just styling one of our classes. So if you go back to your index.html file, in the nav bar, you have your title, which is Hack Racer for your app. So we're just gonna style that, and then I'll show you how you can target specifically the tag the link tag in the dot title. So if in your dot title tag, you can target specifically, or like in any class, you can target specific HTML elements like this by just putting a space and then just adding the HTML elements like name. But for this example, is the A tag. So for this styling, I'm just gonna make the color of the text like white, and then just change the font size so that it's less like small, because right now it's a little small on my screen at least. And then again, you can add like margins. So for margin, you can also add to like left, right, top. So for this one, I'm just gonna add to the left some margin. So it's not like sticking to the left side of the container. So I'll just add 25 pixels for the margin on the left. And then since it's a link right now, you can see that it automatically adds an underline, since like all links in HTML will just have the underline styling. But if you want to remove that, you can do text decoration and then make that none. So then that removes the underline from the text. And then just to like style like the fonts a little bit more, you can also change the font weight to bold. So then it like stands out a little bit more. So it just like makes the weight of the font like a lot bigger or like more strong. So if you see now, like Hack Racer has like the white color, and it's it's like bolded, and it also has the margin left and the removed underline decoration. Okay. So we have 13 minutes left. So for now, I guess just so you guys can practice styling on your own, you can style the nav buttons, and you can do similar styling if you prefer, but you can also like differentiate the styling. So you would just like do like dot nav buttons and then space with again like targeting the A tag, and then add your styling in there. So just do that on your own, and then let the hack squad know if you have any problems.
So to do 3 more minutes of this, first talk about and then at the end, I can just talk about like all the numbers and just like questions of this protocol.
Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you're done styling the nav buttons. So there's a lot of other stuff that you could style on that page, but we're just gonna move on quickly. I'm gonna quickly cover Flexbox. If that's okay. I'm gonna quickly cover Flexbox.
Oh yeah. Good.
Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly cover Flexbox and then we'll go over some logistics about our office hours and the practice. So like I mentioned, Flexbox is one way that you can make layouts for your HTML file like way easier for your styling. So I'm just using this example of a table. So I just have like one div wrapping with a table name, and then I have row headers with like header 1, header 2, and header 3, and then each of them have the same class to style. And then I also have another row of the elements that will be in that table. I just made it like cell 1, cell 2, cell 3. And then, so this is right now without any styling. This is like basically do inline block styling where it's all stacked on top of each other. So just to cover like, it's a lot easier to see now. Like you can just style a table. So I just styled it with taking the width 100 pixels, and then there's more noticeable, and then adding some padding around the cell so that it's inside the text. And then just adding a border so that it's much more clear, like how they're like completely separated without easier. And I just did like 1 pixel taller than that border. And then the background title I just made gray. It's actually But like moving on to how you use Flexbox. So for the entire container, for so I would be styling our table, you would have, for example, I just made the link 400 pixels and type 400 pixels, and it's easy to see exactly how Flexbox is equipping the layout. And then you would just use like display flex to maybe a Flexbox layout. And then flex direction column. So you can make a flex direction column or row. With a column, it's like how you make a column in a table or a column like that. So if I just have like top form style towards the budget, so that's what I'm concerned. Then it will want to like the 1, 2, 3, solid 1, so 2 with all the way down columns. And then for justify content, I made a flex start, which makes it in the beginning of the container. So, for example, if we styling it on the vertical axis, so then flex start will make it on the top of the vertical axis. So that makes sense in the thing. So then we should of the container. Yeah. And then for aligned items, it aligns items horizontally. So I put it as center, so all everything is in the center. And then horizontally. And then I got color with this contrast. I made it and then the reason why they're like stacked into rows, like the headers and the cell, is because I style the rows to have a plus box and a row plus here. So that makes it so that now it's like absolutely like a table where it's like cell 1, 2, 3 is like one row, and then row 1, 2, 3 is one row. So were there any questions about Flexbox? I know I went a little quickly since we're a little out of time. So let me see. Okay, we have 5 minutes until the end of this workshop. So we can't do the activity, but like, I guess at home you can try this if you would like to create a table.
Usually use 5 minutes for like answering people's questions.
Yeah. Yeah. So just ask if they have any questions.
Yeah, just say like 5 minutes. We'll just walk around and answer your questions.
Yeah. Okay. So for 5 minutes, we're just gonna walk around and answer any questions that we for this workshop. But if you just see a hotspot number, just like wait and
I think